Hi, I'm Nathalie Kalbach, and I'm super excited to have Mary Beth Shaw with me again. She has been on Creative Jumpstart for many, many times. I actually should have looked up how many times, but maybe she knows. I would guess about 8, maybe 7 times. And if you don't know her, Mary Beth Shaw is an amazing artist. She does a lot of abstract art. She also owns a wonderful company called StencilGirl Products. And I am very, very grateful that I'm one of the Stencil Girl designers with her for a long time, I think 2013. And yeah, as you know, I love stencils. So it has been a great ride. We have both taught together several times in person and online. And it's always good to see her. Hi, Mary Beth, how are you?
Hi, Natalie. How are you? It's great to see you too.
So, Mary Beth, you are in your new studio now.
I am, yes. It's so different than the old studio. The old studio was all wood and brick and dark, and this one's all white and light. And it's crazy.
And
It's nice. I like it. Yeah.
you just told me before we hit recording, you just told me that this is actually an old dairy farm, and you found some old pictures about the place too. Can you tell me a little bit about it?
It is. This was the largest dairy barn farm in the state of Missouri back in the late 1800s, and they've made it into kind of a retail space, which sounds fancy, but it's really not. It's like they must have remodeled it like back in the 70s or something. It's really kind of old school, the remodeling, but there's like just little places like me have space here where it's maybe just one person in an office, like there's some massage therapists and hairdressers and some attorneys and some nonprofit organizations and stuff. So it's kind of cool, but there are historical pictures that show parts of my studio with cows standing next to some of the posts, and it's always funny when I look at them and think, oh my God, there used to be cows standing in here.
I love repurposed buildings, as you know. I think that's always the best, and especially when you find old pictures that kind of like tell that story, and you're like, this is so crazy. Now it's an art studio, and a
I
100 years
know.
ago there were
But,
cows in there. That's so cool. So I already said that you're the owner of Stencil Girl Products, and since we all love stencils, and if you don't, then I don't know what's wrong with you. I'm sorry. But no, stencils are amazing. So there's so many, many, many stencils with Stencil Girl. Have you tried them all?
no.
You were like, do I lie?
I know. I was thinking, can I pull this off? No, I haven't. I would love to say that I have. It just seems like they're moving through so quickly. And in the beginning, of course, I did try them all. And usually what will happen is when somebody submits a design, it goes to Frank, my business partner, and he cleans it up and he cuts the sample stencil, and he sends it back through to me, and that's when I take a good look at it and decide whether I think it's got enough bridges and stuff like that on
Hmm.
it. And if I think it needs some more work, I'll write a note to the designer and say, I don't know, try this and see what you think. I think it might need a few more bridges. Or I'll just say something like, this is a winner, or I love it, or I'll just send it through if I'm super busy. But that's the most I do lately.
That is so
I
cool.
do try to use them after they launch. I try to use them, at least show them and use some of them during my live streams, though, to give the artists, some recognition.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I thought it was a funny question because I was like, there's
It
no
is.
way with so many stencils.
It is a great question.
You were like, no. So I saw that recently you did something that was called a mesh up, where you and Seth Apter actually you each picked some of the others' favorite stencils, and then you created like a mashup of these two stencils. Can you tell us a little bit about that? That's for StencilGirl Club.
It's so fun. I've been doing it for some of the club months, and it's just really fun. It gives, well, I love to play with the same designs in different sizes and different kind of manifestations. So it sort of feeds that my desire to do that. And the club members love it because then we film like a Zoom where we're side by side working, and they get like kind of a double project, and it's really fun. And it's interesting because when I do it, like I'll ask Seth, well, what are your favorite stencils of mine? And then I'll pick my favorite stencils of his, and then I give it to Frank and my business partner, and he just has such a different eye. And he puts them together in these ways that I would never imagine. And it's really fun. It's fun to see. It's fun for me also.
Yeah. I saw the one with Seth and you, and I was like, that is such a great idea. What a cool outcome. So I love that idea. It's always like this collaboration stuff that makes me really excited. Where you have,
I know, me too.
Right?
Me too. I like things like that are just different, a little out of the box.
Right, exactly. Like you have two different minds and two different tastes, but like it's either the same theme or the same tool, or and then it comes together. I think it's very, very exciting, and probably especially more so in these times where we don't have this opportunity to see each other personally. So that's really fun.
Exactly.
Instead of it.
And when he did the project, so when we do the project for the mashup, as part of Stencil Club, they all get like a little video project. So he started out with like his Seth thing. He was working on black, and he was working with dark colors. I'm working on white. I'm working with happy, perky colors. It was just like two completely different responses to the same instructions. And I think that was probably fun for people to see too.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. That's so cool. So, this year's theme for Creative Jumpstart, or let's say, well, next year, whatever, for 2021, sounds crazy to say that number.
I know.
10-year anniversary, our theme is storyteller. And so I want to know, you do a lot of collage in your work, and once in a while, I see a word that pops up in your pieces. Do you pick these on purpose, or inspire those words you from the beginning or later, or how are they part of your creative process?
Well, the words, I have a degree in journalism, so for me, words are always a big part of just my creative process, because I think because I consider myself a writer and an artist. So the words are always a big part of it. So when I start collage, I almost always start with some random vintage papers of some sort. And generally they have words on them. I do not pick them for a particular reason other than they're like maybe a discolored paper and I like that or something, I will pick them very randomly. But as I'm working on the collage, I will see certain words that I'm like, oh my gosh, look at that, and if I see that, I circle it. Or I'll like gesso around it so that it's right there, And then also, so as I'm working, I've kind of identified that. So you might see something like that. The other thing you might see is that if I ever am like looking for something to maybe kind of get me going or stimulate my creativity, I'll go through old vintage books. And I mean more like old fiction and stuff like that. And I'll take gesso and just do that found poetry, where I'll just gesso around except for the words. And so I've always got a bunch of those hanging around. And sometimes I just am so compelled to put one on. It's like, I don't know, the closest thing I can think of is it's like writing a caption. Like a journalist would write a caption for a photo. It's like a caption for me. It's really funny because I I was organizing some stuff the other day, and I found a little teeny word. And it's been sitting on my desk ever since. I can't wait to use it in something. It says fuddled wits.
That's funny. That's a great
It's like, is that even a word? I didn't even know. It's obviously from something vintage, you know.
Right.
So cool, though. I just kind of feel like that's how I am during this whole pandemic. You know.
Do those words sometimes inspire you for title for the artwork too?
Sometimes they do, yes. Definitely. Definitely. I have a hard time titling my work. I used to not give them titles because I wanted people to like make their own determination about the work. But now I try to, and it's just hard. It's really hard because I want it to be something that is, I don't know, kind of meaningful. And it's hard sometimes because it's like I have those two sides of my brain, and the side that works in the words is not necessarily the side that works in the art, and sometimes they're not talking to each other even though they're working on the piece. Yeah. I know, it sounds like I'm a crazy person.
No. No, that made sense.
Yeah.
No, it did. No, it's funny because, yeah, I'm the same way with titles, and sometimes it comes right away. Like, I actually used some collage paper, some old piano paper today, starting a new building, which is in a terrible disarray and beautiful. And then it was this old, what is it called? The piano roll paper, you know? It has these, like, little...
player piano paper?
Player piano paper. That, thanks.
Little holes in it?
And then it has the title, and when I was reading the title, it was When the Curtain Falls. And I was like, oh my God, this is perfect, because, you know, so I'm not done yet, and I already know, even if I don't see the words in the collage anymore, this is what but that's not always, that's like a gift somehow. Right?
I know. Well, I love that when that happens, that synchronicity. Yeah. When you're working on it and then you just know all of a sudden. And I love player piano music because the way they do it is printed like one word, one word, one word. It's so weird. You know?
It's also backward. Like it's the first word is on the bottom. So you kind of like, it took me a while because I was like, what? Oh, you know. I was like, oh, that's a great title.
That is a really good title.
So so there goes the title. It doesn't have to be untitled number 15 or whatever.
I know, right? I know.
So Mary Beth, I asked you before the interview when I sent you a message, coming back to our storyteller theme. Again, the theme can be interpreted by you guys, you know, by at this time when we record this video. There's not a lot of videos out there yet because you guys still have a big deadline to come. But I let everyone kind of like very free form how they interpret the theme, just because I think everyone should have the freedom to, you know, think about what that means to themselves. So, but I thought it would be fun to tie these interviews a little bit together, and not necessarily what the outcome of Creative Jumpstart is, but by having you pick something that you have in your space that you love to have around when you create. So tell us a little bit about it and show it to us if you picked something.
I know. I have been struggling with this because my whole studio is kind of my special place. It's like my little cave or something. And everything in here is just specifically picked because it isn't something that I would have in my house. You know, it's something that I would only have here. Like I have this pink fuzzy blanket that if I take a nap, I just use that. And I would never have that at home. That's just like so weird and so random, you know. And I have all sorts of things that are like reminders of accomplishments that I've had to kind of remind myself. Like I have this bulletin board that it has all these things on it, and like when I ran that 5K, I think I've run like 2 of them, but I mean, that was a huge accomplishment for me because I'm not known to be very athletic. And so I have things like that surrounding me, things to kind of support my sense of well-being and my mental state when I'm here, because I like for this to be my happy place. You know, so I have like these dried pussy willows, and I have essential oils that I'll dispense, and you know, so I couldn't come up with like one thing, but all around me are examples like that. I'm gonna turn this. We'll see how this turns out, and you can. Do you see all those golden paints up there?
Oh yeah, nice. Oh,
yeah.
fun.
Well, above those are all my washi tapes on little rings.
That's cool.
And it's just an example of how I really love being surrounded by the color, and I just like to look everywhere. And I have my own work on the walls here, and I don't know. As far as one specific, it's not like I have a little, like a lucky charm or anything like that. It's just more of a creation of a mood and a feeling, and it's kind of woo-woo, I guess, you know?
No, I like it. I think it's interesting.
You know?
So I have a lot of screenplay writer, and, you know, just in general, fiction book writer friends, and we do this COVID, that's what it's called, COVID roundtable right now. I'm the only visual artist, and they all have these rituals and how they start writing in the morning, which I find very interesting. And one time they asked me if I really have a ritual of, you know, when I go into my studio. And I think I don't really have a per se ritual. I think there's something for me about having that space that really gives me comfort. And it has like, I have a wall with photos of my ancestors, you know, over the fireplace that is part of my sitting group in the background. And I have like little tidbits here, and I have tools that I don't use, but they are from my grandparents or things like that.
I know. I have things like that, like little altars and things.
Yeah.
But you know what? I did think of one thing that I've had in every single studio. Hang one. One second.
Look at our fabulous studio.
It's my prayer bowl.
Oh, nice.
And I've had this for years, and inside of it are, well, there's several things inside. Obviously, the stick that you play it with, and then there's a few other little nature things that are in it. But also, there are these little prayers that are stitched inside these fabric bundles. And I did a trade once.
Aww.
I think they're prayers for peace. There's some special rocks in here, too. I'm always collecting rocks. And so I have little kind of things like that, like just here and there, almost little altars, you know. But this has such, well, if it didn't have all the stuff in it, well, now let me dump all this stuff out. It's got a beautiful sound if you.
Wow.
Isn't that gorgeous? So pretty. But hell, look at these seeds that I had in there that I said.
Oh, these are cool.
They're just weird, but I love them.
Wow.
I don't know. I'm always picking up weird things. And sevens. I have number 7s everywhere because I was born on 7/7. So I guess I do have a lot of things.
Are you superstitious?
No, I don't think so. I don't know. My husband's mom used to be, she's passed away now, but she used to always say, don't ever start a new project on Friday unless you're going to finish it on Friday. I had never heard that before. Isn't that
Me
interesting?
neither. That is interesting. I mean, I don't think I'm superstitious either, but I guess it's just this like kind of the good feeling about things that have like kind of positive energy that, you know, like if I surround me with that, and it just puts me in a happy place and in a good
Me
place.
too.
Yeah.
I used to share a studio with some people when I lived in California, and one of the women, she had a ritual. So she would come in, and she would always make a cup of tea, and then she'd sit down, and then she'd put her music on. It was always the same song she started her day with, and it was just this beautiful song called The Secret Garden.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it was just always like, it kind of became my ritual too, because, you know, it's like you're there. You know? But it was really lovely, and I did that for a long time, but I haven't been in the mood to listen to music lately with my work, so I'm not really doing that right now.
Do you never listen to music, or what do you do when you work? Is it quiet?
If I listen to music without words, because if I am listening to something that's a known song for me that has words, I'll like kind of get distracted. However, there are times when I want to be distracted. And if I'm like trying to overthink something, maybe it's a good thing to distract me.
Right.
And if that's the case, I'll probably listen to a podcast.
Yeah, it's funny. I do like to listen to podcasts, but I can't finger point when it works and when it doesn't. Sometimes I catch myself and I just like missed about 15 minutes of it, and I was like, oops, It might be that it's actually better to not listen to podcasts that have anything to do with where you have to think too hard,
Right.
like, I don't know, news or science or something like that. But something that's kind of easygoing, and that's for me okay. But I'm always amazed how much you can vanish into your work, like really not getting any of the outside world. Like you're just in it, right?
I know. I love that. Where you forget what time it is.
Yeah.
And,
That's true. So, do you see yourself as a storyteller in your work?
I do, definitely. My very first body of work was actually my very first body of work was after 9/11, and I had been studying with Jonathan Talbot, and I was just a budding artist. I mean, I had never done a series before, and was an extremely, gut-wrenching time, as you know. And after I got back from that class, I just went crazy, and I did this whole series of work called, I called it my Windows series, and it was windows looking inward and outward. And anyway, so that was my first series, and it was more abstract, I would say. And then my second series, I used a lot of vintage, black and white vintage photos from our, kind of from our family, pictures of people that we didn't really even know who they were anymore. This was in early 2000s, and I definitely was telling stories with those. I was kind of creating new identities for the people, and trying to imagine, what they might have been doing or been interested in. And I called that my common denominator series. And yeah. So, yeah, I think I have always felt like I was a storyteller.
So do you have an idea for what's going to come for Creative Jumpstart?
No.
I would be so surprised, because last year we did, or this year, we're still in 2020, the theme of Creative Jumpstart was superpower. Right. And do you remember what your superpower was?
Yeah, I can make something out of nothing.
Yeah.
I dumped my garbage on my table and made a piece of art out of it. Everybody thought I'd do something with stencils, but no. That was too easy.
It's so funny.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't believe I had that idea so early last year, and you would think I might have an idea early this year, but the storyteller is almost harder, because I do feel like, I want it to be meaningful for people. But I'll probably share a lot of my own process with work, and how, how I put things together to allow a story to develop in more of a synchronistic rather than a planned way. It occurs to me the longer I am an artist, which I guess I've been practicing my art for 20 years now, which is hard to believe. And the longer I go, it occurs to me that the more I'm kind of about the same thing, in that my work is spontaneity. I like in the very first, when I first started teaching, which wasn't until 07 or 08. But anyway, when I first started teaching, one of my first classes was called Moving from Spontaneity to Intent. And that is still what I do. I start out super spontaneous, and then I reel it in, and I move towards a true intention with it. And I don't know. It's so odd, isn't it? You can't get away from who you are.
Yeah. Interesting, because I think mine is from intent to spontaneity, being spontaneous to intent again. Like I go back, like I research a building, I have the history, I know that this is what it's going to be, and then it becomes spontaneous, and then it goes back to where, but it's like a dive, and I love that spontaneous, like, where it's like, okay, now I have done all my research, and I know what I'm, not where I'm going, but I know what it is about, and now I'm just imagining, that, and just let whatever comes out come out, right? Like when the curtain falls or whatever.
Yeah, no, I love that you're doing the buildings too. That's really cool.
Should do your barn.
What?
I should do your barn.
Yeah, I know. Everybody who visits here, I take them over to, because it's a really strange structure, and people are always so surprised because it's like in the middle of the suburbs. It's just like so random. You would never expect it to be here. And I always take them over to the other part of the building and show them the pictures, and they're always so surprised. God, this is so weird that this is here.
I love that. So Mary Beth, I cannot wait for you for your wonderful video. I know it's going to be awesome, as it was all the other years before.
Thank you.
If you check some of the bundles out that we had already, of the best of there, Mary Beth is definitely part of those. And so sign up for Creative Jumpstart 2021. Use Mary Beth's affiliate link. She's gonna get a little portion of the sale and is gonna be happy about that. Thank you so much, and I can't wait to see you again, Mary Beth.
Thank you.